Yeah, so that night in the Tree Arena was by far the biggest event in my sporting career. From the offset of my career, where I wanted to be was the UFC, is the pinnacle of the sport. It's where the best MMA athletes in the world were home. So I remember that first show in 2009. I just started MMA myself. I hadn't even had my first professional fight yet. I vowed to myself the next time the UFC come back around, I'll be there. And lo and behold, they came back, whatever, 4 years later, I think it was, and I was there. No one expects more from me than I do, or no one asks more from me than I do. So for me, pressure was always something internal. Because it was internal, it was always consistent, and it was something I was in control of and something I was able to deal with. But for a couple of different reasons, going into my UFC debut, things ended up being different. Making my UFC debut in my hometown was something I didn't think would get to me. I suppose on the night the time came for me to walk out, and I had chosen the Italian 90 song, Put 'Em Under Pressure, to walk out for the fight. And I walked out, the song started, I had my tricolour wrapped around me, and 10,000 people in the Tree Arena absolutely lifted the roof off the place. It was insane. The chorus went off for that song, and everyone was screaming ole, ole, ole. And I had goosebumps on me. I could feel, tingles down my spine, which is something I'd never dealt with before. It kind of took me out of the moment. At that moment, I remember thinking, I got to get back. This is not what I'm used to. This is not how I usually am going into fights. So I remember thinking, right, you got to get back this focus. And I think I overcompensated. The bell went for the fight, and I came out of the blocks like a bull. I stormed over recklessly, and it just wasn't what I usually do. And I ended up taking a right hand. I fell like a ton of bricks. I somehow survived. The ref was so close to stopping the fight, but I just fought back enough. I was able to stay in it just enough until the bell rang in that first round. It was the worst round I'd ever had in my whole career. And I remember walking back to my corner, and I sat down there, and I thought, all right, this is I got to change something here. This is going to end badly. I remember the end of that first round, and I remember walking back to my corner, and I looked over my shoulder at my opponent, and he was looking at me in almost a confused and defeated way, because he had literally thrown the kitchen sink at me. He had me in positions where 99.9% of fighters would have been done, or would have looked for a way out, or would have quit. And I stayed in there, and I somehow survived. And I think I saw this almost defeated look from him, looking over at me, and I was able to take that positive, and that was the only positive I could take, and that was the only thing I could build on going into the second round. But it gave me what I needed. And I came out for the second round, and I was able to turn it around. I had blocked out everything else. I was able to perform to my usual standard, and I turned the fight around, and I ended up getting a submission win, and it being one of the greatest comebacks in the UFC history. So it was a great occasion, but it was a big learning curve for me. I thought pressure wasn't something I ever had to deal with. I always thought it was something I was almost immune to.